on that whole notion of there not being any great teams, obviously we should talk about the Patriots because that dynasty continues to roll on. And like the Garoppolo thing is really interesting, and obviously I've been following it very, very closely to kind of try and read the runes here. But there seems to still be a suggestion that Belichick didn't want Garoppolo to go, that at some point he was ready to hand the keys over, and that he wants to continue with the Patriots dynasty, and that it's not the Tom Brady dynasty, it's a Bill Belichick dynasty. And actually, the only way for him to prove that is to do it with somebody else. And Garoppolo was his anointed one, but that Brady made the decision he didn't want to leave and forced Robert Kraft's hand. Is that a realistic scenario, or is that just conspiracy nonsense?
I think it's probably reading a little bit too much into it. Because he tends to feel that he can win with whatever he's given, especially when he has the thing to choose it. The biggest thing in Jimmy Garoppolo's leaving was that he wanted to play. And they made him an offer of what was, in a sense, starter money, not top-end starter money, but still the kind of money you would pay a starting quarterback in order to keep him. But he said to his agent, I want to go somewhere where I can play now. Because the thing with Brady is, when's he going to go? And he seems like he wants to go on for years and years. He's fit enough to do that. But you just have to think in the back of your mind, and I'm sure it's in the front of Bill Belichick's mind, a 40-year-old quarterback could go like this at any point. And Garoppolo, based on what he did last year in the first 2 games of the season when he played, was certainly ready to play in the NFL. And none of us doubted that. I hated to see him go from New England.
The other thing with the Garoppolo trade, Michael, is that Tom Brady just can't fail now. If he fails, then the whole franchise is going to fail because they don't have that safety cushion of Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster anymore. Does Tom Brady thrive under that sort of pressure?
Yeah, I think so. But again, you can't control what happens to you in terms of injury. And he has been very effective in most situations this year, but the Patriots still have trouble with really good defenses, like most teams do. It's why I say there's no sort of one outstanding team out there. They were lucky to escape with the win in Pittsburgh on this weekend, and probably the most watched game, I think, of the season to that point. Now, remember, the Patriots went 11-5 when Brady got hurt in the first game of the season, and Matt Castle took over. And Matt Castle was a guy who hadn't even played in college when they drafted him. So, I think Belichick figures they can get a win or two with Brian Hoyer, but nobody, I think, believes Brian Hoyer could get them into the Super Bowl.
No, for sure. Just to go back to those rumblings of discontent that are there, Brady has this very trusted lieutenant that he's set up a business, TB12, with. This guy's name is Alex Guerrero, and he's been his personal... I don't want to use the word physician because that would imply he's a doctor and he's not, but he's been his personal...
How about guru?
Yeah, exactly. He's been his body guru, and in his past he's been criticised for selling water with electrolytes that will help protect you against brain injuries. That, funnily enough, wasn't actually a real thing, and so he had to apologise and refund all the customers he'd sold it to. He also was passing himself off as a doctor at one point. He got reprimanded for that, and then there was an investigation into his clinic last year where it was like, okay, you're not doing any of the actual physical training, you're just overseeing the people who are doing it. This is actually it's on Patriot Way. It's right beside the training facility, and up until a couple of weeks ago, he had access to the Patriots plane and the sidelines. And there's loads of pictures of Brady celebrating after the Super Bowl with him on the sidelines. Bill Belichick has removed the privileges of this guy Guerrero to be on the touchline and to travel with the team. And it appears as if he's concerned with the amount of Patriots who are actually still going to see him. And he's banned anybody apart from Brady from seeing him at the facility. Gronkowski uses him, and apparently he has credited him with his general level of fitness this year. So that's an unusual wrinkle in a relationship that seems to have worked very well up to this point.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly about control. NFL coaches in general, Bill Belichick in particular, like to control everything that's going on. And Guerrero actually had an office in the Patriots training facility, right next to the training room. And they want to monitor what their players are doing. In terms of fitness and in terms of recovery. Edelman is another one of his clients, but Edelman's been out for the season. And I think that's probably what the bottom line is. He wants players going to their training personnel first and making sure they do what their training personnel recommends. And the whole business of Tom Brady and TB12 turning him into a kind of Gwyneth Paltrow of football, as lifestyle guru, is probably a lesser concern with Bill. I don't think they've banned players from going into the shopping mall to TB12 and then having treatment there, if that's what they want to do. But they want them to, I think, primarily start with the team's trainers and work through that. I'm not sure it's a huge thing, and I'm not sure that there isn't a worry about setting precedent when you have this guy flying on the team plane and being on the sidelines and possibly taking commercial advantage of it. There might be someone at the Patriots who's worried about that.
How long do you think Brady really has left?
That's a really good question. I think he could go another couple of years easy, because when you watch him as well, he's very good nowadays at avoiding injury. He doesn't always try to avoid sacks. He tends to go down with them. When there was one in the Pittsburgh game when Cameron Hayward came almost unabated to him, and Brady just gives up right there rather than risk the injury, rather than risk the turnover. So it would really be more of a freak injury kind of thing. And as he and Belichick share one thing, they're both incredibly competitive, and in terms of wanting to win. And Belichick is my college teammate, so we're old guys, and which is why I've got the wrestling shirt. But he's going to keep going as long as as long as he enjoys the whole idea of competing and wanting to win. I think Brady's the same way. But as you said earlier on in the conversation, it puts the team in a real bind, because they are committed to Brady, and as we saw with Garoppolo, you can't just keep a guy for years and years as his backup, a guy who's quality. You can keep a guy who's a backup.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson spent years, coach of the Eagles, carrying Brett Favre's golf clubs around, on the days they had off.
It was profitable. It worked out all right for him.
Absolutely. What a job. I'd love to be able to stand on a sideline with a baseball cap turned backwards and a little clipboard in my hand and get paid a couple $1 million.
Yeah, sounds good. Mike, brilliant. Thanks a million for joining us this morning. Cheers.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Anytime.
Hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.